Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. We are going to delve into a topic that is crucial for job seekers in the modern world. We are excited to have you here and looking forward to have a great session. So before we dive in, let's quickly go over some ground rules to ensure a smooth experience for everyone. Please mute your microphones to minimize background noise. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or the question and answer section, which will be addressed them during the question and answer segment, which will be in the last of this session. I would suggest if you can make it naming convention, first name and last name, followed by your city name. That will help us to record. And I'm assuming there will be no break, but due to length of this webinar, if there will be any break, then turn off your camera if you are opening your camera. Please mute your mic always, as I stated earlier. Thank you. So this quote by Malcolm X, "The future belongs to those who prepare for it today," perfectly encapsulates why we are all here. Preparation is a key, and that's what we aim to do today. So let's start with my profile. I'm assuming most of the people joined here today are coming from Saudi Pakistani professional groups because this was especially designed for that community. However, I'm expecting few more outside that community. So that's why I'm giving you very quick introduction about my profile. So you can see I'm the founder of the SPPC. I have so many other ventures as well. Digital transformation and cybersecurity is my strength. I am doing a lot in the fintech and innovation sector. I'm speaking and thought leader in multiple events. I'm writing multiple books, and I'm one of my key strengths is the data center. And I have done a lot of certification. However, here I have highlighted only my project management suite, which is PFM, PPGMP, and PMP. So our guiding code for today is your CV is your first impression. Make sure it gets in the right hands. So think about as we proceed today, because getting your CV in the right hands is a science as much as it is an art. So the reason we are here focusing on this topic today is simple. In the slides, you can see there is 75% of the companies are using ATS, 70% of the resumes are filtered by the ATS. However, I have different numbers as well. So if you are talking about Fortune 500 companies, so 90+% of the companies are using ATS. And if you are not optimizing your CV for these systems, you are likely missing out on opportunities. It is not just about having a great CV, it's about making sure it's seen. So let's quickly go through an overview of our agenda, what we are going to cover today. So firstly, we will be decoding what is ATS and why it's important. We will then talk about how you can make your CV ATS friendly. Continuing on, we will delve into common pitfalls. Uh, you should avoid and additional tips and tools you can use. Finally, we will wrap up with a conclusion and some recommended resources for you, which is the bonus package for you we developed. So before we jump in, we would like to gauge your familiarity with application tracking system. So please take a moment to participate in this quick poll. It will help us to tailor the session for your needs. So this is the poll for 1 minute, and I think you can see it on your screen. And yes, now I can see on my screen as well. So you have 45 seconds remaining before we are going to the next slide. I think we are done with the time. Let's move to the next. The first section is the most important section today, where we are going to decoding the ATS, and we are going to discuss what is ATS about. This is 10-minute section, so uh, take your cup of coffee or tea, whatever you need. It will be very lengthy session, but very fruitful session. So, all right. Now that we have set the stage, let's jump into the heart of the matter. So, decoding the ATS, in the next few slides, we will explore what an ATS and why companies are so keen on using them, and most importantly, how you can ensure your CV passes through this digital gatekeeper. While we say digital gatekeeper, we are going to talk about this a little bit later in next slide. You will get insight into the mechanics and algorithms that power these systems, and practical tips to tweak your CV for better ATS compatibility. So let's roll up our sleeves and get started on making sure your resume isn't just left floating in the digital void, shall we? So basically, this is the problem all of us are facing, that we have one of the best CV in our opinion, and but we are not getting an interview call. So let's try to understand why we are not receiving any interview call. So let's dive right in. What exactly is ATS? So ATS stands for Application Tracking System. Imagine it is a digital bouncer at the club. Only in this case, the club is your dream job. The ATS reviews, sorts, and rank job applicants based on criteria set by the company. It's the first hurdle you have to cross to get your CV from your outbox into the hands of an actual human. So now you might be wondering, is this really something I need to worry about? Most of the people, like I used to think earlier as well, why should I worry? I have one of the best CV, and then let's go on and things will be smooth. But this is not the case anymore. While we are talking about 98% of the big five organization of a Fortune 500 organization are using the ATS, so competition is very tough, and you should really care about this. So let me hit you with the number. As I already mentioned, 98% of Fortune 500 companies use ATS. That's right, almost every large company out there is using this system. So unless you are planning to work for a small company, mom and pop shop kind of company for rest of your life, is fine. You don't need to worry about your resume. Otherwise, if we are understanding the ATS is essential, our objective today is not merely to understand this digital gatekeeper, but to outwit it. So we are not going to discuss how this is work. We are trying to outwit it as well, to make sure that your CV doesn't just end up in some digital black hole, but it instead make it to the desk of a recruiter. This is our objective. We will try our best to make this happen. So first question coming in our mind is, why do companies use ATS? Understanding the corporate perspective, we need to understand the other side, why they are using ATS. So, all right, so we have established that ATS systems are nearly everywhere. So we understand this point. Now, the natural next question is, why do companies love them so much? So let's break down the main drivers behind the adoption of ATS system into four key categories. So first category, we have efficiency. Imagine shifting through a pile of 500 CVs manually. It it would take ages, right? So it's obvious for all of us. And nowadays, we know the market, and if you drop one job and how many CVs we are receiving. So ATS systems handle this in a fraction of the time. So second is uniformity. With such a huge influx of CV, ATS ensures that each one is evaluated against the same set of criteria. So there is no manual interruption. ATS is going to sort this for you. Now, there is a standardized scoring system that leaves no room for human error or bias. So third is the cost effectiveness. So if you think job hunting is stressful, the hiring process is equally stressful as well. So, and that is costing a lot of money to the company. So that's why companies are adopting the ATS. So smooth out their hiring process and error free and cost effective. Now, especially on their wallets, using ATS for the preliminary round minimizes the human resource expenses significantly. I remember in my last previous organization, they were using one of the ATS, and the recruitment people starting from 20, they were able to reduce to 5, which was significant cost saving, in my opinion. So the last part of the or last factor here is the compliance. So compliance have legal obligations and standards to be, especially when it comes to hiring. ATS helps companies adhere to these compliance requirements easily. So there you have it. From a company perspective, it's hard to imagine not using ATS, but for us job seekers, understanding these motivators is the first step is crafting an ATS-friendly CV. So usually we don't see other side of the table. We usually see only our side of the story. So and we lose that perspective. So it's important to understand why it's important. So next we are moving to overview of how ATS system functions. So look, now that we know that what is ATS and why companies use it, so let's delve into the inner working. How does ATS actually go about screening your resume? How they do the screening? So this is important to understand. So firstly, we have the algorithm. It is the brain behind the operation. So the algorithm is same case of what Google and everyone is using. They are using for their sorting out or for search optimization or for Amazon is using, and most of the big names are using. So it is a similar kind of architecture where they are using algorithm, which is the main brain behind the operation. So it sets the rule for how applications will be analyzed. You can think of it as a programmatic interviewer. So it is interviewer that screens your resume before they get to a human recruiter. So if you are not passing this algorithm, you will not be able to see the human recruiter. So next is the parsing engine, which is also very important. Now, parsing engine, consider it as the eyes that read your CV. This tool converts the content of your CV into a format that the ATS algorithm can understand it. So it's fetch all the data information from your CV. If your CV is not compatible to parse the data, then you are out. Uh, It's crucial because if the parsing engine can't read your resume, as I said, then you are effectively invisible to employees. So it's very important, which we are going to discuss in later slide, how uh, parsing happen and why it is very important. Okay, so moving on to keyword matching. Um, I'm sure with the word keyword matching, you understand what we are going to discuss here. The ITS scan for specific skills, experiences, and keywords to decide if your resume is relevant to the job posting. So when you are applying, pay attention to the keywords in the job description. They are your biggest clues for the passing this stage. Lastly, the ranking is similar to the search engine optimization or any search engine ranking. This play the similar role here. Where comes into the play, this mechanism arrange the list of applicants in a way that makes it easier for recruiters to review. It ranks each resume based on how well it matches the job description and company requirements. So in summary, ATS is not just a simple filter. It's not like you are filtering and you are going through that filter. It's a complex system designed to make the recruitment process more efficient, accurate, and fair. And understanding how it works will give you a significant edge in your job search. In the next few slides, we will go into each of these components in a greater detail, so stick around, please. Okay, so as we are diving into the details of ATS systems, that we are curious to know if any of you have tailored your CV specifically to pass through an ATS. Take a moment to participate in this quick poll. Your input will help us understand how familiar you are with this concept. So you have 45 seconds and we will wait for your responses and then we will move on to the next slide. You can give us feedback. If I'm going very fast, you can slow me down. We have support team with us. They will pass up your message to me. If you are thinking I'm speaking too loud or too low, also please give me your feedback. We will continue on. So let's move to next slide now. I think we need to close the poll. Support team, please. Anyway, in the meantime, support team will close the poll. We can move further. So now that we have glimpse at the big picture, so now we understand, we discuss a lot of things about the ATS. We understand why companies are using it and what is the main design of that ATS system. So let's zoom in on the mechanics, the actual gears and levers behind the ATS. So we discuss algorithms. So now let's go further deep dive into the algorithm. So first up, algorithm basis. Every ATS has a foundational algorithm that guides its selection process. It's akin to a digital interviewer programmed to seek a specific skills, experiences, and qualifications. Now, next, we have context awareness. I'm sure, including myself earlier, is not the thing we usually overlook this thing. It's not enough to just stuff your CV with keywords. ATS systems are getting smarter. Understanding the context in which keywords are used, they can detect whether you have just listed skills or actually use them in a job role. So now scoring system, which is the next. Once the ATS finishes parsing and understanding your CV, it assigns you a score based on how well you match the job description. So this score is what decides your rank among participants. Finally, customizable filters. Employees have the ability to fine-tune their ATS. They can set filters for years of experience, specific skills, or even alma maters, further narrowing down the pool of candidates. By, by understanding these mechanics, we arm ourselves with the knowledge to optimize our CVs effectively. In the coming slides, we will break down each of these components in the greater details. For me, this is one of the important slides. As we move further into the mechanics of ATS, it's crucial to understand how these systems read or parse your CV. Parsing is the process where the ATS converts your CV into the machine readable data, categorizing each piece of information into specific data fields like experience, education, and skills. What this means is when you submit your CV, the ATS dissects is to categorize and understand your qualification and experiences systematically. Think, think of it as turning your CV into a database of information that can be easily queried and analyzed. Now you might wonder what could go wrong. A lot of. A lot actually. If your CV uses complex layout, multiple columns, or graphical elements, it could confuse the parsing engine, making your CV effectively invisible to the system. That's why it's crucial to stick to the standard formats and headers. Make it easy for the ATS to understand you. In summary, parsing is like the ATS reading glasses, and ensuring it reads your CV accurately is your first hurdle in the parsing through an ATS filter. Up next, we will delve into the importance of the keyword matching and how it affects. So, continuing our deep dive into ATS, let's focus on two core components, keyword matching and ranking logic. So, keyword play a vital role in ATS systems. When you submit your CV, the ATS scans it for specific terms that match the job description. This is why tailoring your CV for each job is always essential. Always read the job posting carefully and make sure to include the relevant keywords in your CV. These could range from technical skills and certifications to soft skills like teamwork or leadership. Once the ATS scanned all the resumes, it then ranked them. The ranking logic is designed to organize applicants in order of their suitability based on how well they have matched the keyword and other criteria set by the employer. Now, a word of caution. Don't just cram your CV with the keywords. This is usually we do. The ATS is smart enough to spot keyword stuffing, and your CV could be flagged. Use keywords naturally within the context of your skills and experiences. So the takeaway here is be strategic with your keyword use, understand what the job requires, and customize your CV accordingly. Doing this well could significantly improve your chances of passing the ATS and getting your CV in front of human eyes. Now, as we get closer to mastering the ATS, it's crucial we talk about CV formatting and structure. You could have all the right keywords, but if your CV isn't formatted correctly, it might still get rejected. First, let's talk about common errors. Many people use fancy fonts, complicated layouts, and even images in their CVs. While this might look good to us, ATS system may struggle to read them. Regarding file types, stick with docx, or text-based PDF. These formats are generally ATS friendly and ensure that your content is easily parsed. Next, use standard headings for the different sections of your CV. Headings like work experience, education, and skills are universal and easily recognized by most ATS systems. Custom or creative headings can confuse the system, making it skip over important information. Last but not least, keep it simple. Avoid using intricate bullet points, tables, or graphics. The ATS favors plain and straightforward layouts that they are easy to read and scan. Remember, the goal is not just to pass the ATS, but to make it easier for the human recruiter who will read your CV afterward. Keep it. Wow, we have covered a lot of things in just a few minutes. So let's quickly recap what we have learned today about decoding the ATS. So firstly, understand that ATS is your first hurdle in getting your CV notice. Almost all large companies use it, so you are very likely to encounter one during your job search. Secondly, companies are motivated to use ATS for reasons like efficiency, uniformity, compliance, and cost effectiveness. Knowing this can help you understand what you are up against and how you tailor your application. Thirdly, we discuss the mechanics behind ATS, from the algorithm that power it to how it parses and ranks your CV based on certain criteria like keywords and experience. Lastly, never underestimate the power of well-formatted CV. Make it ATS friendly to ensure it passes through the system effectively. These are your key takeaways for today. Take them to heart as they can make a significant difference in your job search. And remember, decoding the ATS is here. So we are going towards our new next section of today's webinar, which is 10 minutes again section, the pitfall of ATS. It is also important to understand where are the pitfalls. So all right. So we have delved into what an ATS is, how it works, and why companies find them valuable. But here's the things, while ATS systems are incredibly useful for employees, they are not perfect and they can actually be quite problematic for job seekers. You may be wondering why. Does this matter to me? Well, have you ever felt like you were the perfect fit for a job, but never even got a call back? That's happened to me a lot. Yes, that could be very well be because your CV didn't make it past the ATS system. It never reaches to the human. So even though you were highly qualified for the job, in the next several minutes, we are going to delve deep into this issue. We will explore why some extremely competent candidates get overlooked and go through some actual examples where CV failed to ATS test. So let's get started and learn how we avoid these pitfalls. So let's dig deeper into some of the common reasons why even well-qualified candidates sometimes get overlooked by ATS system. So you might think that these automated systems are proof, but the reality is far from it. Today, we are going to look at three key reasons that can cause good candidates to be sidelined. So first point is over-reliance on keywords. Now, most of us know that the keywords are important, and ATS scans your resume for certain terms that are relevant to the job description. However, what many don't realize is that ATS algorithms have gotten more sophisticated. They don't just look for the presence of the keyword, they also consider the context. So for example, if you list project management as a skills, but have never managed a project in your work experience, the ATS will catch that discrepancy. Simply prepping your CV with buzzwords is not going to be enough. The words needs to be used in the correct context corresponding to your actual experience and the job requirements. Now, second point here is formatting mistakes. What I mean by formatting mistakes is the next reason good candidates get overlooked is due to formatting errors. For instance, some people like to put important information in headers or footers. But did you know that many ATS systems can't read text located in those areas? Similarly, some candidates embed crucial information in the images, thinking it will make their CV stand out. Unfortunately, ATS systems can't read images either. So this means your visually stunning resume might end up being a blank slate to an ATS, causing automatic rejection. It's essential to stick to a clean, straightforward format that ATS can parse easily. Now, third point, lack of tailoring your resume. The third and final reason we will discuss today is the lack of customization. It's easy to have a generic CV that you send out to the every job you apply for, but ATS systems are designed to match resume against very specific job descriptions. If your CV is too generic, it may not pass the ATS criteria set for that particular role. No matter how qualified you are, tailoring your resume for each application, emphasizing the skills and experience most relevant to that job will significantly increase your chances of passing the ATS filter. In summary, in a nutshell, ATS systems, while helpful, are not foolproof. Over relying on keywords, making formatting mistakes, and not trailing your resume can result in being overlooked. Even if you are the most qualified candidate, by being aware of these pitfalls, you can strategically improve your resume to make it through the ATS and into the hands of human recruiter. Again, now that we are all aware of how significant ATS systems are in the hiring process, let's take a moment to find out if you suspect your CV has ever been rejected by such a system. Don't worry, you are not alone if you have faced this. And the good news is that you are in the right place to fix it. So you have 45 seconds to answer these. Here we go. So let's close the poll now. Supporting, please close the poll. Okay. Now, before going to this slide, I was just looking for the results of the poll. So 64% people possibly, but I'm not sure. Okay, let's go further anyway. So welcome to this section where we are going to delve into real world examples to understand some of the most common pitfalls candidates fall into when dealing with ATS systems. These are not hypothetical scenarios. They are based on actual events showing how easily can good candidates can get disqualified due to ATS related mistakes. So here I'm going to present you three different case studies. I'm sure you are aware that we are not going to use any real names here. So these are the names we just replaced for the study purpose. So the case study one, the out of CV. So let's begin with the Sarah. She's not a novice. She's an experienced project manager with an MBA. Sarah had heard that ATS looks for specific keywords, so she decided to cram as many buzzwords as she could into her CV. We are talking about terms like project management, budgeting, and team leadership. Now, here's where she went wrong. She didn't just include these in a skill section, she scattered them all over the CV, including her work experience and summary sections, often making them awkward and forced. So, what was the outcome? The ATS detected an unnatural repetition of these keywords and flagged her CV as potential spam. That means her CV never even reached a human recruiter. So lesson learned here is while keywords are essential, they must be included naturally and in the right context. Let's move on to next case study, which is underformatted CV. Now we have Alex, a software developer with 5 years of experience. Alex has an artistic side and wanted his CV to be a visually appealing. He chose a beautiful template replete with text boxes, tables, and icons. While it looked visually striking, the ATS couldn't understand any of it. All the text within these graphics elements turned into an unreadable jumble. He was automatically rejected. So the ATS couldn't even parse his skills or work history because it was all embedded within these graphical elements. So the takeaway here is that while creativity is good, it's essential to stick into a simple text-based CV format that both ATS and human readers can easily understand. So third and last case study here I'm going to uh, discuss with you is jargon-filled CV. So finally, let's consider Priya, an expert in supply chain management with over a decade of experience. Priya was confident that her expertise would shine through her CV. She filled it with industry-specific jargon, like just in time, Six Sigma, and lean methodologies. Now, these terms might impress a human expert in supply chain management, but the ATS was looking for simpler, more commonly used terms like inventory management or logistics. As a result, her CV ranked surprisingly low, and she missed the chance for an interview. The lesson: always balance industry jargons with commonly used terms or phrases. So these were the three case studies. I didn't display any one of the case study. I was just reading out for you to understand the different cases here. These are real cases, but we just replace their names. So in summary, all these case studies show that even highly qualified candidates like Sarah, Alex, and Priya can falter if they don't understand the intricacies of ACS systems. So knowing these pitfalls and how to avoid them will give you a significant edge in the market. Wow. So we finish that section. I think it's 508. So we finished a little bit early, not much, but little bit early, but it's good. So the next section is very lengthy. Key strategies to beat the ATS. It is 20-minute session, and hope you will have your coffee around you. So welcome to the most actionable part of today's session. Key strategies to beat the ATS. You have already heard about what the ATS does and why it's a critical part of your job application process. But knowing your opponent is only half the battle. Now it's time to learn how to beat it. Over the next 19 minutes, we will go through 5 important aspects that can make or break your application. Formatting your CV for success, keyword optimization, understanding the role of job description, presenting your relevant experience, and finally, the do's and don'ts for creating an ATS-friendly CV. Think of this section as your roadmap to navigating the tricky terrain of application. So let's move to the next slide. So let's move on the next crucial topic, formatting your CV for success. You may have all the right skills and experiences, but if your CV isn't formatted correctly, you might as well be invisible to ATS. Let's understand why formatting is pivotal. Firstly, the layout. You may feel tempted to show off your creativity with a fancy layout, but when it comes to ATS, remember that less is more. Stick to a simple, clean layout. Use bullet points, short paragraph, and a clear headings. A simple layout doesn't just help the ATS, it is also makes your CV easier to read when get when it gets to the human review stage. Speaking of being readable, avoid graphics. So I'm sure you guys are noting down or you are understanding the point. So avoid graphics, images, and non-text elements. We just gone through the Alex case study. So Alex from our case study had a visually striking CV, but ATS turned it into a gibberish. So ATS systems are designed to read text, not interpret your artistic vision. Keep your CV text-based to make sure your content gets read and understood. Onto the section headings. Use standard headings like work experience, skill educations, and so forth. Customized headings like my career journey might capture a human's interest, but they could confound an ATS system. ATS is programmed to look for standard heading, so let's not confuse it. And finally, the file type. Always, always, always Save your CV in a file type that ATS can read it. The safest bets are PDF and doc. While these are many file types, while there are many type files out there, not all are compatible with ATS system. When in doubt, go for the tried and true. In conclusion, think of formatting as setting the stage for your content. A well-formatted CV ensures that the ATS will correctly read, interpret, and evaluate the substance of your CV. While a poorly formatted CV, no matter how excellent, the content may never make it. Past the ATS algorithm, formatting is not the exciting part of your job hunting, but it's a vital step in ensuring that your skills and experience get the spotlight. Now, keyword optimization is a topic that merits close attention, especially if you are keen on navigating the labyrinth of our ATS successfully. When we talk about Sarah from our earlier case studies, we see how overuse or misuse of keywords can actually be detrimental. So how can you find that sweet spot and optimize your CV for keywords? I can see so many people are, I think, raising their hands. So if someone has questions, they can park their questions and we will take it in the later stage. So the first step is understanding the pivotal role keywords play. Keywords serve as the connectors between the job requirements stated in the posting and the skills or experience you bring onto the table. They are the criteria against which the ATS gauges the relevance of your CV. Without the right keywords, your CV stands little chances of passing even the initial stages of ATS screening. So underestimating the role of keyword is a risk you cannot afford to take. So identifying the right keyword is your next big task. Most often, the job posting is the goldmine for these keywords. Dig into the sections like responsibilities, qualifications, skills required. These sections are not just outlining what the job entails, but are also subtly telling you the exact phrase the ATS is programmed to search for. Make a list of these and cross-reference them with your own skill set. This is a bit like a matching game. The more matching terms, the better your chances. Once Once you have identified the right keywords, you might be tempted to scatter them generously across your CV. Don't strategic placement is crucial. Strategic placement is crucial. Keywords shouldn't just be dumped into a skills section. Integrate them within your work experience, your summary, and even your education section if it is relevant. Context matters. The ATS isn't just looking for a match, it's looking for relevance. However, a word of caution on what's known as keyword stuffing. Excessive repetition can flag your CV as a spam. Use keywords naturally. Make them flow within your descriptions and always keep them relevant to the topic at hand. If a keyword feels forced, it probably is, and both ATS and human recruiters can spot this a mile away. Lastly, let's not overlook the power of synonyms and variations. The ATS systems are becoming more sophisticated and can now recognize synonyms of the primary keywords. So if the job posting specifies project management, feel free to incorporate related terms like project leadership, team management, or project coordination. To sum up, keyword optimization is a nuanced process that requires a delicate balancing act between meeting ATS criteria and maintaining the authenticity of your CV. It's not just about beating the machine, but making sure that when your CV does get in front of human eyes, it fully represents your skills and experience. And remember, your ultimate goal isn't just to get past the ATS, it's to secure that job interview and eventually the job itself. All right. Now that we understand the importance of formatting and keyword optimization, let's move on the something often overlooked. The role of job description in tailoring your CV. Firstly, always read the job description thoroughly. It's not just about the title or the salary. It's your first clue to understanding what the company is looking for in a candidate. Job descriptions are often written with input from hiring managers, so they contain keywords and phrases that are essential for that role. Don't skim, read carefully. Next, identify the keywords and phrases in the job description. Highlight them, jot them down, whatever you need to do to remember them. Why? Because these are the terms that ATS will most likely be programmed to look for. They could range from specific skills to software proficiency or even soft skills like leadership or communication. Then come to then comes the mapping. Once you have a list of keywords and phrases from the job description, it's time to map those to your skills and experiences. Excuse me. Show how you align with what they are looking for. This isn't just for the ATS. When your CV reaches a human recruiter, they will also want to see that alignment clearly. So remember, this is not about only to beat the ATS. Eventually, if you are beating the ATS, eventually you are going to reach the human, and you need to make sure you are passing the interview and getting the job. So it's not single task. And finally, avoid submitting generic resume. This is very common with all of us. When you tailor your CV for each job description, you increase your chances of getting past the ATS and eventually landing an interview. A generic CV might pass a less stringent ATS, but it is less likely to impress human recruiters who are experts in spotting mass application. In summary, the job description is not just an informational document. It's a roadmap to crafting a CV that not only passes the ATS, but also resonates with human recruiters. So the next time you find a job you are excited about, don't rush to it. Apply. Take the time to tailor your CV according to the job description. You will be glad that you did it. Customization is the key. So, to ensuring your CV resonates with both ATS systems and hiring managers, we would like to know how often you take the time to tailor your CV according to the specific job description. Take a moment to answer this poll. It will give us insight into where we can offer the most value during today's webinar. You have 45 seconds. Take your time, please. I think we are done with the poll. So up next, we will focus on how to present your relevant experience in a manner that not only impress the ATS, but also stand out to human recruiters. First on the list is to quantify your achievements. General statements on your CV like managed a team or handled client relationships can be ambiguous. Instead, use specific numbers of to quantify your impact. For instance, managed a team of 10 or increased client retention by 25% provides a clearer picture and can be easily picked up by both the ATS and human recruiters. I was just looking for the poll results. As expected, 53% are really customized their CV specific to job. Anyways, so secondly, contextualize your skills instead of just listing your skills. Demonstrate how you have used them in real world situations. Instead of saying proficient in Excel, state use Excel to develop budget forecasts that reduce expenses by 15%. So context like this add values and makes your CV more compelling. So thirdly, prioritize relevant experience. This is crucial for anyone, especially if you have a varied career background. The ATS is programmed to pick up relevance. So if the job is for sales managers, focus more on your sales experience and less on unrelated roles you might have had. This is not the place to be jack of all trades. Finally, use reverse chronological order when listing your experience, starting with your most recent job and work backwards. ATS systems are designed to recognize this standard formatting, and it makes it easier for human recruiters to follow your career trajectory. To sum it up, the way you present your experience can be a make or break factor in passing through the ATS filters. Use these strategies to optimize these important sections of your CV. Following, following these guidelines will ensure that you are presenting your qualification in a way that is easy to understand and hard to mistake. As I wrap up this section, let's take a few minutes to go over some crucial do's and don'ts when crafting an ATS-friendly CV. These guidelines can serve as your checklist before hitting that submit button on your job application. Firstly, do use standard headings. Stick to universally understood headings like experience, education, and the skills. Customs or creative headings may confuse the ATS and your CV may get improperly categorized or worse, skipped over. Secondly, don't use complex design or graphics. While a beautifully designed CV might impress a human, the ATS doesn't have an eye for aesthetics. Graphics, tables, or text boxes can cause parsing errors. Thirdly, do use keywords naturally. As we have discussed, keywords are crucial, but they must be used contextually. The ATS and human recruiters can both detect when you are just stuffing your CV with keywords. Next, don't overstuff your CV. It can be tempting to include all your experiences and skills, but an overly long and cluttered CV could become cumbersome for both ATS and human recruiters. Stick to relevant experience and keep it concise. Fifth, do use a simple, clean layout. This is the gold standard for CVs. Use a straightforward font, keep your bullet points neat, and ensure the layout is clean and easy to read. Lastly, don't ignore file type guidelines. Always check the job application for any file type requirements. Usually a PDF is a safe bet, but some ATS system may specify a Word document. Remember, the ATS is designed to help recruiters, but its limitation can create challenges for job seekers. By following these by following these do's and don'ts, you can craft a CV that's not only ATS friendly, but also compelling for human recruiters. In our next section, we will look at some advanced techniques to further boost your chances of getting past the ATS and into the interview room. So don't go away. So we have next 10 minutes for the live CV makeover. Although this live CV makeover is not will be very interactive session, but it will be useful for most of you to understand So welcome to the live demo section of this presentation. We have been talking about ATS system, their complexity, their benefits, and their drawbacks. We have looked at why qualified candidates get overlooked, and we have discussed the best strategies to beat the ATS as its own games. So now, what's the next? It's time for us to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty with a real-time CV maker. In this live demonstration, we are going to take a sample CV, much like what many of you might have, and we are going to transform it into a CV that not just passes through the ATS, but genuinely impresses human recruiters as well. You are going to see firsthand, step by step, how we can apply all the theories, strategies, and best practices we have discussed into making a CV that stands out for all the right reasons. This demos aim to cement the principles we have discussed so far, and it will give you actionable insights that you can immediately implement. And here's the kicker. The before and after visuals you can see on the screen will give you a teaser of the dramatic transformation we are about to embark on. So get ready to take notes and let's begin this exciting journey to make your CV truly ATS-proof. I'm sure you can easily, both screenshots are visible to all of you because we are going to have a live demonstration on the visual basis only. So before we dive into the makeover, it's crucial to recognize where the original CV falls short. You can see the sample CV on the screen, and I have highlighted some problematic areas in the red. So firstly, let's talk about the layout and the design. While it's a tempting to go for a visually stunning resume, remember that ATS systems are text-based. Our sample CV has user layout which replicate with which may look good to us but are essentially unreadable by ATS system. This is a classic case of style over substance and a quick way to get your resume tossed out before a human ever seen it. Next, let's discuss keyword optimization, or rather the lack thereof in our example. If you look at this skill sections, you will see it's filled with generic terms like hardworking or team player. While these may be true, they don't resonate with the ATS, which is looking for specific skills and qualifications related for the job. For instance, if the job is for a software developer role, the ATS want to see terms like JavaScript, Python, Agile methodology. Now pay attention to the work experience section. The CV does list jobs and even some responsibility, but it's all too vague. Sentences like handle a variety of tasks doesn't give the recruiters or the ATS any insight into what the candidate is actually capable of. Lastly, the CV has glaring gaps in the employment history. Whether these gaps are due to unemployment, education, or something else, they are unexplained, raising red flags for the both ATS and the human recruiters. As we progress through this life makeover, keep these problems areas in your mind because we are going to fix them one by one and transform this CV from a good to dynamo. We will demonstrate how to make it both ATS friendly. So you can see the screen capture of the format CV, which is saying after CV. So this is the CV we made after we made the correction. So as we begin the makeover process, the first step is to adjust the formatting and layout while the design might look appealing to us. An ATS system needs to read it and they are not equipped to appreciate your artistic flair. We start with a simple layout, stick to a single column format and avoid tables or text boxes. ATS system struggles to read them correctly. Use standard fonts like Arial, Calibri, or Times New Roman. Fancy fonts can get misinterpreted, leading to an unreadable mess in the ATS. Section your CV properly with standard headings like objective skills, work experience, and so on. This helps the ATS easily categorize the information. Lastly, utilize bullet points to list your skills and work responsibility. It makes your CV easier to skim, read, both for the ATS and for the human recruiters later in the process. So remember, an ATS-friendly CV starts with a clean, simple, and organized layout. In our next slide, we will delve into keyword optimization, which is the next crucial step in making your CV. In this next step, we focus on keyword optimization. Keywords are essentially the search term that ATS uses to determine if your CV matches the job posting. So getting this right is critical. The first task is to identify high value keywords. You will find these primarily in the job posting. Look for terms used to describe responsibilities, skills, and qualifications. Make a list and find ways to naturally incorporate these into your CV. It also wise to be aware of industry norms or specific technologies that are commonly sought after. Next thing, think about the placement of these keywords. They should appear in multiple sections. Your summary, your skill sections, and sprinkled throughout your work experience. ATS algorithm often give different weights to keywords depending on where they are appearing. So diversify their placement. Thirdly, use these keywords naturally. ATS systems are getting smarter and many can now detect keyword stuffing. So use these terms naturally within the context of your experience and skill. Lastly, consider using synonyms and different forms of the keyword. For example, if project management is a keyword, variation would include project manager, management projects, or managed projects or project leads. Remember, effective keywords optimization is a balancing act. You need to ensure your CV reads naturally while making sure you hit those high value terms that ATS algorithms are searching for. In the next step, we will discuss how to tailor your CV using your job description. So in this step, we are going to focus on tailoring your CV to match your specific job description. First, take some time to really analyze the job description. What are the key responsibilities? What qualifications are they looking for? Once you have once you have a grasp on that, you can begin to tweak your CV accordingly. Emphasize your most relevant work experience. You don't have to list every job you have ever had. Focus on the jobs where you have had similar responsibility to those outlined in the job posting. Next, your summary should also be tailored to not just reflect your career, but also to match the new job you are applying for. Include skills or experiences that are particularly relevant. Finally, consider the order of sections on your CV. Prioritize sections that are more relevant to the job description to catch the recruiter's eye. By doing these things, you are not just keyword optimizing, you are making sure that when a human being reads your CV, they see an obvious matching for the job they are trying to fill. Let's move on to the presenting your relevant experience in a compelling way. First off, give context to your roles instead of just listing duties. For instance, instead of saying manage the team, you could say lead a team of 10 to complete a project 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Next metrics are your friends. Number, provide concrete evidence of your abilities. If you increase sales, by what percentage? If you manage accounts, how large were they? The more specific, the more better. Third, in the skills section, it's a good idea to break it down into core skills and additional skills. Core skills should be directly relevant to the job you are applying for, while additional skills might be beneficial but not essential. Finally, the language you use matters. Use action verbs like led, managed, or created to bring your energy into your CV. Passive language leaves a weaker impression. This fine tuning ensures that your CV doesn't just pass through the ATS system, but also stand out when a recruiter reviews it. Finally, let's look at our improved ATS proof after CV. What changes have we made? Firstly, we have used clear and standard section headings like experience, and education so the ATS can easily navigate through the CV. Secondly, we have opted for a clean and straightforward layout, stripping away any graphics tables or any elements that could be a barrier to the ATS system. Next, we have implemented bullet points for easier reading and skimming. Bullet points have both the ATS and human recruiters quickly identify your skills and experience. And lastly, the CV is now saved in an ATS-friendly PDF format. This ensures that the CV looks the same no matter what software is being used to view it. These changes are subtle but powerful dramatically, increasing the chances of your CV making it past the ATS filter and into the hands of a human recruiter. You can see how even smaller tweaks can make a huge impact. As we reach a significant checkpoint in today's session, let's pause for a moment to summarize the essential insights and takeaways we have explored so far. So firstly, ATS systems aren't just rudimentary filters, they are intricate algorithms designed to enhance the efficiency of the recruitment process. However, they have limitations, and understanding these limitations provides a valuable edge. We delve into pitfalls to avoid, illustrated by real-world example. Remember Sarah, Alex, and Priya. Their experiences underscores the pitfalls of keyword stuffing, poor formatting, and the overuse of industry jargons. Next, we look at actionable strategies for beating the ITs, from correctly formatting your CV to the importance of tailoring your application based on job description. These are strategies that you can put into practice immediately. Our live demo was a hands-on exercise that transformed our weak CV into an ATS-proof one, showing that small tweaks can yield a significant result. Your immediate next steps should include revisiting your CV with today's insight in mind, focusing on readability, keyword matching, and relevance. Moreover, always keep your CV updated and customized for each job you applied for. To summarize, mastering the ATS system involves a careful blend of understanding strategy and immediate action. The tips we have covered set the stage for succeeding in an ATS-focused job market. But don't go away just yet. We have some more valuable contents to share. Up next, we will introduce you to some additional resources and tools to take your CV to the next level. We will also open up for a question and answer section and offer some concluding thoughts and next steps. Stay tuned. So this is the additional resources and tools section where we are going to distribute few documents for your review, which are going to help you. This is quick 5-minute section. As I saw the message from support, they are unable to share these documents by their ID. Let me try to share the first document. If I'm able to, just give me a second. I will try to send one document if possible. I think I have a okay. I think I will share these documents during the question answer sessions because I think these are taking more time than expected. So let's quickly go through. As we are nearing the end of our session, it's crucial to keep the momentum going on. That's why this section focuses on equipping you with additional resources and tools that will help you refine your CV even further for ATS system. We have got some interesting and useful contents lined up, including recommended documents, trusted online tools, and a list of further readings. These resources will provide you with the depth and breadth you need to not only understand ATS better, but also to continue evolving your CV. So let's dive in. Okay, the first set of resources, we have the file which I already missed, the last one. It's the mastering guide, which we are going to share with you. Here we are going to share with you two documents, very interesting document, uh, which we see two essential documents. The first is titled Mastering the Art of Resume Writing. This is a comprehensive guide that goes beyond ATS to focus on general CV writing skills, providing you with valuable tips on structure, language, and presentation. The second document is Top 10 ATS Systems in 2023. This will give you insight into the most commonly used ATS systems, helping you understand your competition, so to speak. Knowing the systems you are up against will empower you to tailor your CV more effectively. Here I'm supposed to give you one more document. So total, we are going to give you 5 documents. So moving on to our next set of resources, we have list of online tools designed to help you test your CV against ATS algorithm. First up is Job Scan, a tool that compares your resume against job description to give you a match rate. Next, we have Resume Worded, which provides tailored feedback on your resume's content. Skill Syncer is another useful platform that identifies the skills and keywords to align with your job you are targeting. Finally, there is a CV compiler which is tailored for tech roles and give you specific advice on both your resume and LinkedIn profile. These tools can be instrumental in giving you a competitive edge. Don't worry, you will get all these 5 documents we are talking about here very soon. Uh, let's move to the next, where we are going to talk about code. So as we discuss various tools and strategies for making your CV ATS-proof, we wonder if you would be interested in a follow-up workshop where we can go hands-on with these tools. Please participate in this poll to help us gauge interest and serve your needs better. Poll, please.
Faisal, you are mute.
Sorry. So these are the list of few of the online further reading and online tools available. However, there is a document which has more than this, which will be shared with you very soon. Since we are running over time, I'm not going to discuss in details these tools, but these two tools we can cover in the next section as well. To wrap up this section, we have gone over a range of invaluable resources from comprehensive guides to essential tools aimed at helping you master the intricacies of applicant tracking system. The journey of ATS mastery is ongoing, so it's crucial to stay updated with the latest trends and changes. Your immediate next step should be to review the resources shared today, continue educating yourself, and start implementing what you have learned to refine your CV. This is your pathway to becoming ATS savvy and increasing your odds in today's competitive job market. Here we start where I think most of you was waiting for. So let's move this final session. We are now opening the floor for 15 minutes question and answer. Due to the time, I think it will be 10 minutes only. Feel free to ask questions about anything we have covered today. You can type your question in the chat or use raise the hand feature if you would like to speak. We will try to get to as many questions as possible. So let's dive right now. Support, please.
I have unmuted Mr. Osama. Mr. Osama, you can speak now. You have to unmute, Mr. Osama. Unmute yourself, please.
Hello,
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Islam.
Okay, so first of all, I'd really like to thank Mr. Faisal and team for organizing this session. I feel like that I have learned a lot from this and much more than what I expected I got here. So I have a few questions, but I will try to limit to just one or two instead of going through all of them. So two things. One is like you can skip this question if you think this is off topic, but so we understand the ATS system and how the CVs get involved there and how they're read and parsed and used. But do the ATS systems look at other things as well besides CVs, like cover letters or your LinkedIn profile? That is one question. And the other question is that, for example, the question I originally had was that, is there a tool for checking your CV? And you mentioned something like job scan. Now my question is like, in your experience, how accurate are these tools? And how are those their results comparable to the actual results that you get from ATS? Thank you.
Thank you, Osama. So first of all, thank you for your comments. You learned something from this webinar, which is our core objective. In my understanding, the ATS main purpose is only for covering and ranking the CV itself. They are not getting any other document like cover letter or your LinkedIn job profile. If your LinkedIn job profile is on, you are submitting as CV, then yes, maybe they are going to cover that one. Now, second question, sorry, I missed your second part. Can you come again?
Yes, the question was that, so you mentioned that there is tool like job scan, which can, where you can submit your CV.
Yes. So basically, there are multiple tools which you will find in the documents we are going to share with you. They are not only going to help you to make your CV as ATS friendly, they are also going to help you to make your CV specific to any job. So if you have, for example, you choose one of the job you are going to apply, you take their job description, you are going to add into your CV. Now you want it to test as per this job description what I'm ranking for. So there are tools which will tell you that you are matching 40%, you are matching 80% of that job. So this will help you. There are multiple tools and they are in our list of documents which we are going to share with you.
So next time unmuting Mr. Ali.
I think we have namaz time as well. Anyway, yes.
Assalamu alaikum, Faisal Bhai and the support team. Thank you very much. This is very worth experiencing and indeed very thought-provoking session. Thank you for organizing this for us. Okay, quickly on the formatting part of the CV. Is a password-protected CV, can it be parsed or
No,
scanned?
not
Okay.
at all.
Okay, so the
because it's not readable for the system, how it will parse. It required password to decrypt the CV first.
Okay, all right. So second question, Faisal bhai, regarding sometimes often we are tempted to use the logos of the company. For example, if someone has worked in Telenor or Nokia, for instance, they tend to use the logos. And same happens with the certificate badges as well. When we used to earn from the PMP, for example, or from the Bell Labs,
So
we
there
use
are
the
two
logos.
ways. I got
Yeah.
your idea since we are running
Okay.
out of it. There are two ways to do it. One is you can use logo with the text, which is fine. However, if you are only using logo without the text, it is not going to parse.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So any other query? Because I only saw two raise hands and we already answered the queries. Anyone who is interested to have a query or question? Faisal bhai, also we can see the chat. The chat have a lot of questions. It was and I was telling them that
Please ask.
please
You can read it out.
yeah. Actually, there was one query from 1 second. Recorded. They wanted to have this recording of the session, first of all. And Ali already asked the question already he shared in the chat. Can you share an optimized sample resume? Optimized sample resume.
Okay.
Okay.
We can.
And
We can. What we use two CVs in the document in this presentation. One was before, one was after. We can use that. We can share that as well.
okay. The other question was from Osama Hussain. I guess he already requested, he already was the first in the session, Q&A session. He write that what is the criteria for being flagged by the keyword stuffing? Like suppose person's experience very perfectly matches the job requirement and description. Would that person's CVs be potentially flagged for keyword stuffing? If yes, then how does one avoid this? This
Keyword
was
stuffing, as we mentioned, it depends on the relevance. So, for example, if you stuff the keyword which is not matching, for example, you stuff something in your skill, but it's not relevant in your experience, it could be triggered as your red flag. But if you perfectly manage the mapping of these keywords between your different section, then it is okay. But now overstuffing is where you are bombarding all of your keywords without relevancy. This will be flag as well.
next question was actually requesting for the Urdu, like medium of conversation should be in Urdu. I requested that we will thought for it and we will get back to you because I don't know what because we did not prepare ourselves for Urdu. And next, I think that's
Okay,
it.
let's have a quick poll. If you can make quick poll, how many of participants want Urdu, how many participants want English? So let's decide now.
Let me create one.
Personally, Urdu, yes, is our mother tongue. It has more audience than English. I agree somehow. But however, I know the people or professionals in our job market who are Pakistanis, but they are not frequent in Urdu that much. So that's why we chose this language.
Faisal bhai, one question, if you don't mind, it just fortunately came into my mind. Some of the companies have their job portals where they prefer us to write down the complete profile, the education, work, and everything. And at the end, they also give the option of uploading the CV. I mean, at times it's a very cumbersome and time exhaustive effort. Like for example, Accenture, and if you go to Deloitte, for example, if I have to, I mean, fill all of this in a quick succession, it is not possible. What is your expert advice on this, Faisal bhai? Should I just ignore all those pages and just go on and upload the CV, or should I have to complete all the details?
Okay,
I hope
so
my question is clear.
yeah, your question is clear, and this is happening with all Fortune 500 companies. Uh, the purpose of that is they wanted to make sure that the content you are developing, if your CV is not ATS friendly, at least they are capturing through the forms they are making. So this is the purpose. So if you are taking the risk and you are ignoring, uh, even though you are uploading your CV, it will pass and it will show you the data into their respected field. Correct me if I'm wrong. It will be
Yes.
pre-filled fields for you mostly, and you will just
Exactly.
corrected it few things, and then that's all.
Yes, exactly. That's correct, Faisal bhai. But one instance I just
So, for
I
example, I
yeah.
used to have my name. I am giving you example. My name on LinkedIn with my all certifications. So it was Faisal Gauri, PGMP, PFMP, XYZ. So my CV was the same. So the ATS is parsing. My name is not Faisal Gauri. It was passing my name Faisal Gauri and my certifications. So this is one of the biggest error. And this is very
Thank
common
you.
practice we are using nowadays.
Yes. Thank you very much, Faisal bhai.
I think the poll is done. I am not sure.
Yeah, poll is done. 80% is in English. So let's proceed because I don't think so anyone has it.
Personally, I voted for Urdu. My vote was for Urdu.
Let's proceed
In
now
29%. Okay.
because
Now, just one question from all of you. I'm not sure because there is not much attendees at the moment. All of you are part of the SPPC group or someone is out of SPPC group? Why I'm asking if all of you are part of group, then we will send all these documents in that group. If you are not part of that group, we will send by email. We already have all of your emails. Anyone is not part of SPPC, please highlight. Sajid Bhai, I think is not from SPPC, or you want to speak something here?
I'm opening the mic for him. Let him speak. Ji, please, Mr. Sajid. Yes, you are unmuted.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Professor Hari sir.
Walaikum assalam.
I am the external part basically. Your program and your training is very feasible. I am basically in Pakistan and having a training session with you people, and it's very nice. I
Thank you.
myself is a trainer as well, and
Mashallah.
having 20 years of IT experience.
I'm not trainer
So I
at
am
all.
the
Bhai.
external.
I'm not trainer at all. I'm just trying to support the community. We discuss part of our one of the discussion that this is one of the thing we are lacking or we are facing issues. So we said why not to have a webinar, and then we arrange this webinar. This is how it.
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah.
Support by एक और last poll I think. This is.
1 second. I'm just searching for that poll. Yes, launch.
I think this because we approach to the conclusion, so we are interested in hearing how confident you feel now about making your CV ATS proof. So this is going to give us very good feedback about our webinar. So please take a moment to participate into this final poll. Your feedback is very invaluable to us and help us understand the impact of today's webinar. Sajid bhai, so you are in Pakistan, you are not part of SPPC group, right?
Sir, I've got a link basically, and I don't want to participate it. That's why I'm there with you people.
So now let's close the poll. I think we recorded all the answers, I hope.
Poll closed.
Okay. So let's move to final things. I'm quickly going through because we are not going to discuss. So this is a small announcement. So we have some, so since we have very good feedback, so we have some exciting follow-up sessions and workshops lined up. This includes a workshop focus on crafting cover letters that complements your ATS optimized CV, as well as special sessions on leveraging LinkedIn for your job search. And more details will be sent by email. So I'm expecting you guys are going to attend, inshallah. Apart from that, we have next 2 webinars coming from SPPC platform. All the SPPC members are already aware. Next week will be very important webinars coming from our one of the community member, Kamran Kundi, on the health. And the following Friday, which is 6th of October, will be second and third, sorry, webinar will be coming on the business side as well. So the next week, the topic is transformative health, turn your plate into your pharmacy, conducted by Mr. Kamran Kundi. And following week, which is 6th October, Unlocking Business Potential, a free guide for Saudi Pakistani professionals, which is conducted by Mr. Adil Isbani. These two, if you guys are interested, you are more than welcome to join. And I would like to express my sincere thanks to each and every one of you for actively participating in today's session. Please keep an eye on your inbox for additional resources and updates on upcoming events. Your feedback is valuable for us, so please do take a moment to share your thoughts. So we are going to share with you one final feedback link. So this is the email address. If you have any further queries, you can send us queries through feedback@spp.community. Social media, most of you are already aware of our group. The last section is, I'm quickly moving on. So this is the link. If I will try to send into, I will send into by the email this link as well. So, or anyone can copy. This is the link where we are expecting feedback from each one of you. And I think this was the last slide. That's it from our side. Anything else before we leave? So thank you, everyone. We are always striving to make our webinars as helpful as possible, and your feedback is crucial for it. So I will wait for your feedback, inshallah. You will find a link to short survey soon in your email. Please take a moment to fill it out and don't forget to send us back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.